Great, everyone. Welcome back to our return to Borderlands playthrough. We're here back in the, obviously here on Xylorgos here doing the other missions, here and doing the second part of our other mission. Now we're here and going to the Nagul Shai, but I obviously skipped a little bit of the dialogue talking to Mancubus and Wainwright and coming here because we get to the main camp where we meet Aista, our main new character is going to help us get into Nagul Shai because obviously Nagul Shai is locked off. We can't get in. We're going to need to get some items to help us get in, so that's going to be our next big quest. I did do some farming off camera, or a little bit farming, not too much. I didn't get too crazy. I did get this Snowdrift Moxie's endowment, which you're going to use that. Susan's conference call, our head explosion, but we did manage to get a clairvoyance, which was one of my main things I wanted. It took a bit of farming, but I managed to get one. It's not the best version of it, but I think it will do for now. Also managed to get this Duke or Duck, however you want to pronounce it. I got that, and so just something to have, an extra gun to have. Most of the other stuff I put away. Some of the other things I collected, yeah, you can see most of our inventory is kind of cleared out. Just kept some of our other 72 items that we have. So, nothing too crazy. No new shield. Pardon me, no new class mod. Nothing else major. We're here obviously going to go into the main area, but we'll talk more about this as we get through because this is another little sequence. We have to obviously to basically announce ourselves. So yeah, now Hammer's going to talk to us and tell us what's up.
Yes, I have read about the local hunting traditions. Do you see a horn nearby? Often we hunters use those to announce our arrival so we aren't mistaken for an animal. Give that horn a mighty blow. So, it's welcome by combat.
I gotta fight.
What a thrill! Have at
Oh,
it,
these guys aren't too crazy. I could hit my shots. Another one? Oh, he's already done. They're still going. I think another couple more. I think our spider and then our little drone will get them first.
Ah, they yield to the superior fighter. Part of the hunter's code, you see.
Now we meet our good friend Aista. Or Ista. However you, I think it's Aista. That's how you pronounce it. He's another kind of weird, wacky character. Yeah, Aista. Oh, now we're gonna fight. Hopefully it's not too difficult. I think we should be fine. Maybe we switch over to... No, that's not too good. I think... What are we gonna do? Oh, we use our clairvoyance, obviously, because clairvoyance is really good. I forgot. Like, what weapon can we use? Oh, we had our most powerful gun right here, the clairvoyance. Or one of the top guns, especially for assault rifles. Obviously, some of the other guns do kind of beat out, but it's still one of my more favorite guns to use. But sadly, we can't get it back into much later, and I guess we could maybe. I guess we can't get a Monarch either, or any of the other kind of other units. I guess another good one is coming up is the Soul Render, which we can get later on once we get down into the heart, but that's a little bit of a ways away. He's super now. The music's a little playing, the combat music, so maybe it's kind of derped out. Maybe because we killed those guys too fast. Pause it real quick. No. Okay, there we go. The music went away. Now you eat the kite, which I don't know how we do for a robot, but we do.
This strange meat courses through me like machine oil. Not bad.
Kaif is strength, Kaido. It is power. Now, what brings you to my camp?
My hunt brings me to the cursed mountain.
You have bested me, Kaido. And so we are now friends. If the cursed mountain is your destination, then I will help you. The path to Shai lies behind that mighty gate. But the ice that blocks it is unpenetrable. To melt it, you will need a very special kind of weapon. The kite.
So now I'm gonna go to Kinkton Woods and obviously we're gonna fight the Wendigo. Speaking of DLC 2, I think as we're recording this, they showed off a lot for Borderlands 4 actually, and then showing off the new DLC, which actually has a bit of a reference to DLC 2 with Mancubus, which we kind of talked about how Mancubus is kind of like, he's kind of beyond the game story. He obviously has more. He's obviously leading on more. He's not just and that the Lodge is more ethereal than him.
This planet breeds rare and dangerous beasts. Back home, I was the region's tracker.
Let's kind of let him finish talking. But yeah, DLC 2, or the new, not DLC, or I guess the first major story DLC is basically going to feature
That is why I came
kind of this, like, kind of inspired by DLC 2 here. We're going to have Mancubus be kind of like the main host character. I don't know if he's going to be like a villain or he's going to be bad or good, but we're obviously going to go to the Lodge, which the Lodge is obviously travel to Kairos because the Lodge is like this kind of like beyond like the story, eldritch thing that's like exists, and Mancubus is kind of just its host or its owner that's supposed to like take care of it. And it's like that's kind of the main story. So I think it's kind of funny because I guess like I said, it's kind of interesting to see where they take it. Because obviously Ellie's going to be like, I guess she's going to be the main character, and maybe she's going to come and try to look for something or do something. Sadly, our vehicle broke, but we can do another one. But that's basically the story. But I believe, like I said, they kind of showed like a small roadmap of everything coming, which is I believe this is in DLC 1 is going to be in March for the main story campaign. I think that video cookie breaking. And that's the problem in Mayhem level, the enemies scale too high. Give me 1 second, I gotta lower this again. I think it's too loud sometimes. There you go, that's a bit better. Sorry, I couldn't hear myself with all the music and all the sound effects. But basically, they showed off DLC 1, the first major story campaign, and then obviously they showed off another bounty pack, which is part of the premium pack, or you're gonna have to pay for it because the Rush Stage Mercenary was kind of like a free bonus thing to kind of get people into it. So that they also showed, I forget what it was called, something like the hunt for like the stone like the stone dragon, I think it was called. They didn't really show anything off like a trailer. They just showed like a little scene. But basically, I believe that's coming at the end of February, and also with Pearlescence, which is like the other big thing that they kind of talked about. I think I referenced it also in one of the other like early parts of my playthrough, where I talked about how they're going to add pearls to the game, and I was kind of wondering when. It seems like they're going to add that with DLC, with that first kind of, or the second bounty pack. I get confused with the numbers now. But basically, that's going to come out. I believe it's like free, so obviously they're going to add to the main story, but they're obviously going to be somewhat tied to the DLC, so maybe whatever the final boss is, maybe can drop it, or maybe there's another little boss too, because I assume they're going to maybe add a little more content to the kind of bounty packs, because I guess the Marcus kind of was a little bit rushed, and they didn't like add everything. I don't think they're going to add one to like the loot card thing, or the vault card kind of thing. They're obviously just going to maybe have another little maybe two bosses, kind of like how it was with the bounty packs in Borderlands 2, where you had like two little, like you had one boss and then you fought another like bigger main story boss. So maybe that's kind of what they want to do. But yeah, they're gonna add pearls. I don't know how many. We didn't say anything. I think they cheesed one way back, but I don't remember what it is. But who knows what they're gonna do? Because I know a lot of people kind of iffy on pearls. I hope they make them like really powerful, but I don't know if they want to have a really high drop rate to where it's like it's nearly impossible. But I guess that's kind of like the gimmick is like farming, because they kind of changed as of like the various updates, they kind of fixed the drop rates for some guns or at higher mayhem levels. So when you're on higher mayhem levels, you get better drop rates, but it's not really that much compared to like Borderlands 3 or here with some of the DLC. But yeah, I think there's right here. But basically that's going to be another thing. So Pearls is like a free part. Then the DLC comes out, but that's like paid. So if you have that kind of season pass you bought, I think you're obviously going to get that. It's going to be interesting what we see with that. So that's at the end of February. Then they showed off the obviously the DLC for DLC thing. And then I think they also showed off there's going to be another takedown, and I think also another raid boss, kind of like what Bloom Reaper was. So maybe we'll see that. But that's kind of like, I assume like in maybe like April or May, kind of that kind of range. I think they want to do it kind of like back to back, because I think the first, like I said, the DLC is March, then maybe April or in May, or maybe I guess May would be the first, and then maybe by like June or July we'll get another one of the story, I guess, bounty packs, because I think we're gonna kind of push back the main story campaigns later on, so that's probably not going to be until maybe like July or August in that kind of range, maybe September for like the anniversary of the game kind of thing. But who knows? Like I said, they added, and obviously I think Cash comes out also in March, because I was talking about Cash. I think he's also to be part of the main DLC, main story campaign, which is pretty interesting to see, because obviously, like speaking of the DLC, like with one, obviously like it's going to be inspired by this kind of DLC too. So maybe they're gonna bring back a lot of the sort of Jacobs, like those types of weapons. Since Jacobs is kind of like the main, I guess maybe the main gimmick, or maybe we can have like Torg or something like that too. Because you know, like with Ellie kind of being her own, I guess Ellie's her own kind of character. She's not really attached to any like the brands, kind of like how Hammerlock was, like indirectly with obviously with Wainwright. But even like in DLC, like Hammerlock's big game hunt was obviously very Jacobs focused. So maybe we'll see the Becca. I think maybe the Becca, the Hammer, or not the maybe the one of the other like kind of returning legend. I think the Becca would probably be the big one. Same with like the Skullmasher, if they're gonna bring back any of like the big legendaries or have like a lot of good Jacobs. I don't know if they'll bring back like the Clairvoyants, because the Clairvoyants is kind of all they had to have the the Rider in the first like Marcus or the Rush DLC where they have the Rider, which is it's not a very good gun, but it's kind of like meant to be like a pseudo Clairvoyant. So maybe they'll do something like that, because there isn't really, I guess the only really big good Jacobs gun is the obviously the Bonnie and Clyde. I think there's maybe another one too, but the Rider's the other kind of iffy one that you don't really need to use it.
Ready to
So if they're gonna add something like that, maybe that's when they would add it as like something like that. Maybe the Maggie too, because you know the Maggie's another good gun. Because there isn't, I guess there isn't really. I guess the only really good Jacobs gun is the Seventh Sense, because I think the Phantom Flame, and I think there's another one too that I can't remember off the top of my head. They're not very good. I mean, they're fine, but they're not very. They don't have that same kind of consistent feeling or really good feeling of like some of the other Jacobs pistols, or especially here in Borderlands 3 and even Borderlands 2. So hopefully they add something like that, because I think like they want to add something that they haven't like tried to recreate with some of the other weapons or fill a different role. I guess maybe that's what that's kind of my mindset. If they're gonna add any other like returning guns, I don't know if they're gonna add like, well, I don't think they're gonna add like another. Maybe they will add another big returning gun, kind of, maybe one of the other like DLC guns that are exclusive to. Bring back a Borderlands 3 gun, because usually they want to bring back like the.
Still, it is nice to get some fresh
Pardon me, the like.
Do hope when he's all right.
Like the legacy guns, or guns that had kind of been in all of the games, kind of like that, like the Maggie, the Skullmasher, I guess the Becca too, but even though I guess the Becca would count too. Like those are like the ones I think they would probably add. They would do Jacobs. I don't know if they would add any of the other, like maybe they'll add like the Bitch or something like that to the game. One of the other like big guns, but I guess maybe they want to maybe stray towards making more new guns. You know, trying to play into like the weapon part system, or the license part system, I should say, and kind of play to that. You know, maybe being able to bring back some of those early guns and have them, legendary, but bringing those back and having them kind of be kind of reimagined to have like license parts. You know, imagine like, I don't know, like a Maggie with Torque Sticky, or Maggie with like Malawan, so you can like switch between that, or having like the switch between shotgun or was it pistol damage, so maybe we get even more projectiles, and kind of plays in that. Oh, just a skin. Oh, we don't really need that, but you get my point. Where that's kind of the main focus of the DLC, or like trying to bring back new guns, or bring back some of the old guns. But I don't know what other new guns they could really bring. But I think maybe we'll probably see more of that kind of Jacobs, Malawan. I don't know, not Malawan, but I don't know. I don't know what they would really do. Because I guess it's going to be kind of like a more of like a. Because looking at the story, I don't know if they're going to like kind of create like a new like faction of enemies, like kind of like with like the, was it the biter guys, or the like the cryo, like these snow like guys here in the main story, and here in DLC kind of too, where they have like their own. They're still basically just COV bandits, but they have their own like kind of aesthetic and personality, where it's not just like, oh, this is going to be just rippers and maybe some order and stuff like that, or maybe some like new like hidden monsters, or like animal creatures that they kind of introduce, like kind of like the Wolvins, or like the weird Critchions and all that. Maybe which is what they're probably going to do. But we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, hopefully, I don't think the story's going to be bad. I think the Borderlands has kind of been able to like redeem itself with the story, since I know a lot of people didn't like Borderlands 3 story and Borderlands 4 story. I know some people kind of had loved it, didn't like it, but I think it's a lot more palatable, especially for if you're more of a casual person who, not really someone who plays Borderlands, or this is your first Borderlands, because Borderlands 4 or Borderlands 3 is almost what, like 6 years old at this point, going to be 7 at this by this year, which is already pretty old. I mean, if you're like a teenager or a little kid when Borderlands 3 came out, and you're like a young adult who never really played the game, or you kind of were focused more on like the other like big heavy hitter games. And Borderlands 3 was already kind of like in that kind of weird transition feeling of like the next gen, or like the last gen into the next gen kind of era, in terms of how handle like certain mechanics. And I guess everyone wants free to play now. Who cares about paying for DLC or paying $60 for a full price game? Because people are very, I guess, more cynical about that. So.
Well done. The eyes of a red.
But we'll wait and see what we do. I mean, like I said, they're obviously going to add a lot more content. I think they kind of given people a lot more hope because in that kind of weird gray area between like the release of Bloom Reaper to like even now before the trailer came out, there was kind of like, okay, what are we going to add? And what are they going to do? When's the next big update? They kind of sat down, like said, okay, here's everything. Wait, you're going to have to wait, but it's coming, so you got to be patient.
Pulled up the drawbridge.
But yeah, so now we're here at the big camp, but there's nothing crazy over here.
Stay up here and keep an eye out for predators.
The Wayne Rich basically telling us to go ahead. I think there's another gun we can get later on. There's the, was it the Insider or the Nothingness? One of those like weird Malawan shotguns and aren't very. It's not bad, but it's like kind of over there. And then there's obviously another one further down. The what's it called? The Mutant, I think it's called. It's like this like other obscure Jacobs assault rifle. It's good. It's not bad, but it's kind of like you don't really need to use it. Because obviously you have like the clairvoyance, and then you have something like obviously like the Becca or even like the lead sprinkler and a lot of those, or even the Gatling gun can kind of. I think it's maybe a little bit stronger than that if you get an early version and kind of can use it, or you get like the right version. Because basically it's like or I mean like the Rowan's Call. But the Rowan Call, I think is like the Rowan's Call is probably the best of the Jacobs assault rifle. I kind of forgot about it. That's why I wasn't referring to it. But it's kind of like this like beam like non-elemental beam weapon. Alright, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. I had to clear my throat again. You know how it is. Every time I start recording, I get all congested. I don't know how it is. So I gotta take a pause. But I think they're also from the what's it called? I guess Wendigo. But Wendigo, we're not really gonna farm Wendigo because even Wendigo has I think it's like the Staros or Stasis Burn, something like that. It's like something burned where it's like basically like one of those like another stronger version of like the kind of Embrace the Pain where you're like on the break effect. It basically does like gives like increased damage, fire rate, chance to knock extreme ammo. It's a really cool gun, but like I said, it's one of those guns where the gimmick of like the break effect is cool, but there are other guns that kind of have that consistent DPS that kind of makes it like, well, why would I need to like rely on breaking the gun to like just to get like damage that's basically on par with the gun that doesn't even need anything really to make it strong. Like that's kind of like the duality of a lot of guns in Borderlands, and the Star Wars Bird is kind of like that. Alright, before we do that, let's click keep leveling up our stuff. I did level up a little more. Now we got the Dead Man's Hand, so now we can aim down sight. We still haven't really touched Hunter, but Hunter is not really necessary. I mean, all these other stuff we can wait. But I mean, at least I want to get all these before we go into like higher mayhem, because you definitely do need like a lot of these gun things like combo, hollow point. Come on, Slam isn't really necessary. It's more of a utility. All these other ones aren't really necessary. Oh yeah, then Groundbreaker. I forgot about these other two ones that they add later on. But Groundbreaker is another big one. Dead Man Walking's okay. Dead or Alive is another good one too. They're more utility, but we're obviously gonna get them very slowly. We gotta take our sweet time with getting them.
I'll be back soon.
Oh, do not worry. I got this. You just enjoy your hunt.
I guess as of this recording, like a lot of like the companies that put out like their little showcase. I think Nintendo put out another showcase. I didn't really watch it. I mean, it's mostly just like a partner showcase showing out games that are coming to the Switch too. I think another also showcase was the Overwatch showcase, because I was actually really into Overwatch. I was really into Overwatch. I haven't really played it since like I think back in like August or like September of like 2025. I kind of stepped away. I wasn't really playing it because then I was more focused on like Marvel Rivals as like my kind of like main like free to play, or I guess free to play like hero shooter main game, because I wasn't really a fan of like some of the directions they wanted. I didn't really even bother buying any of the season pass or battle passes or any content. But I did see they showed basically how they're revamping like their kind of seasons and adding a bunch of characters actually relatively soon. I think like the 10th or 12th of February. So like we're pretty soon as of recording this. So you know, I've seen all the characters, and obviously they're doing a big collab with like what is like the Hello Kitty or Sanrio, which you know kind of shows where I guess like that kind of where the kind of people were all freaking out about seeing like those types of skins, or like seeing like the very cutesy skin, which I guess is another, like I think I talked about in my first part, where like Overwatch is one of those games that can kind of same with like Marvel, is like they have to blur that line of making characters that are aesthetically pleasing but are also like attractive, but also like very cutesy. Where you know, like Juno, Kirika, which I know they always get like the joke is they always get the skins because they're like, and same with Mercy, they're like the moneymaker. But they could be like attractive to men, but also like have these like cutesy fun skins that appeal to the girls or girlies, I guess you would call them, or middle-aged women in their 30s, because I guess those are the biggest fans of Hello Kitty more than like little girl, like actual children. I guess the best way to put it, or like even like young teenagers, because you know I guess Hello Kitty is like a thing for all ages, and then I guess maybe some other people too in between. But they showed off obviously like the I think 5 new characters. Some of them were kind of cool. Some of them kind of remind me of some characters from or not from Marvel Rivals, which is kind of funny since I guess Marvel Rivals is like the copycat of Overwatch being the hero shooter like game and having that. But now it seems like Overwatch is like having to like take a step back and like basically kind of revamp their year. Where now 2026 is kind of them kind of restarting their year and kind of giving themselves like a new like head start basically, or a new event sets like a new fresh new start I should say, to like getting people to maybe step away like myself. I don't know if I'll like hardcore go back to the game, but I definitely will check out like the DLC and play all the characters because some of them do look pretty cool. I think there's like the one like tank lady, the other like guy who's like kind of like a soldier kind of character where he's like gadgets and like weird like where he gets like angry, and then there's the other like healer guy who's kind of like another assassin ninja character. Then there's like I think I mentioned the big buff, like I guess she's not buff, but like the kind of like wealthy like uppity class lady with her like robot arms and robot gadgets. And then there's the cat, which is basically like I guess or the flying cat, which is I guess Overwatch's attempt at like I guess Jeff the Landshark of having like a cutesy animal character that kind of I guess they kind of did cutesy character to kind of compete with that, because I guess Winston and I guess Hammond, the big wrecking ball, wasn't enough. So they need like a little cat and a jetpack to be that character, which kind of shows, you know, I guess I guess they're not really copying, but I guess it's more like forcing like Overwatch to like change up their like themes and trying to like really appeal, because you know, a lot of people said like Marvel Rivals kind of really damaged Overwatch, his reputation, and kind of pulled a lot of people away, you know, especially a lot of like the big content creators and streamers. I think some of them will probably like stay and come and go. That's kind of the nature of this game, where some like they'll have their high points and they'll have their low points, you know. Now with Marvel Rivals, I think they're kind of in a low point, you know, because I think, you know, with the 6.5 season coming up, maybe within like a couple weeks from now, maybe a little bit, maybe less than a month, with was it Elsa Bloodstone? She's not really as big of a character that's gonna really pull people in as like Deadpool did at the beginning of the year. So people might kind of step away and maybe go to Overwatch or some of the other hero shooters that are coming out, you know, or pardon me, coming out and part of stepping away and playing those types of games. All right, let's see, what do we have to do? Oh yeah, we gotta go rehab this. I guess we go do this real quick. I think we need to come over here. Yeah, this guy over here. What are these woven guys?
My never-ending quest to show Winnie why I absolutely adore hunting.
We got legendary, so I think it's gonna be, like I said, a nothingness or the insider. I forget which one it is. It's one of those two. Shouldn't be. What do we get? I think it's the. Let me check. I think this is the nothingness. Yeah, the nothingness. I forget what there's like. Well, I guess we could try it out. There's one that's kind of like a flacker-esque thing. I guess it's like this one. Yeah, it's like a pseudo, like a weaker flacker. Because I forget what the other one is. I think the other one's more of like a sticky, kind of like shoot out little bunch of projectiles that blow up on impact. You know, those kind of weapons that we've been seeing. I guess we could use it now. But yeah, I guess like. Do we want to? I guess we could also go for the mutant too. If we want to, but if we don't get it, we don't get it. Because obviously, like I said, I'm not going to farm for the Cyril's burn, really, because it's not very good. Wendigo's not too difficult, but he can be annoying if you're kind of caught off guard. Because, you know, like a lot of these other bosses aren't too annoying. I guess it's kind of like the other tougher, like was it the Scritori guy? He was pretty annoying too if you're not really prepared. Obviously, we had really powerful guns because, you know, we have like some of the better guns that can really just shoot through a lot of the enemies. We got to come down here and wait for Hammerlock because we got to do another little sequence. Kind of does like a derpy walking because he's going down on such an incline. Alright, more of these footprints.
Powerful in there. Let's go in. A rather large creature, isn't it?
What a busy one. pause a moment.
Hunter never goes in for the kill until he knows his quarry outside and in. In this case, in.
I gotta get our hands dirty.
Pungent. It must be fresh.
Ah, the odor of seared flesh. Windigo must burn its prey to death before eating it. Fascinating. Perhaps we'll find its weakness if we keep searching.
Ah, that one is mostly bones. Windigo must feed on small creatures and also something earthy. Now I glean the truth and stench.
The Windigo cannot
Find smaller prey.
It's on the mushrooms of the forest. Our path
Becomes clear. We will bait the Windigo first and then go in for the kill. First, Decelium avantis, rare and deadly paralytic. It won't kill a creature the size of the Windigo, but it should daze it enough to make it a fair sloss. Here.
He's giving us a little plant that now we gotta go
Now, create
basically set up a bait and take to help weaken the Windigo.
juice of some local
mushrooms.
Some mushrooms.
Meanwhile, I'll keep all the Windigo's
trail and make sure the devil doesn't elude us.
There's also, wait, let me see if it's over here. I don't know what this is. I think this is like a little Easter egg, but I'm not sure what's an Easter egg too. Yeah, there's a chest here, but there's also this rock or this glowing spear. I'm not sure what it is. It's like a, cause I don't think it's a side quest. I think, but I don't know what it's a reference to. You know, it's just like a little meteor. Maybe I missed something or something, but I've never seen it and I'm thinking like, what the heck? Oh, we got the loot tutorial. Yeah, there we go. That's
Yes!
how
To the bloodletting!
He's not too difficult. He's got like this weird purple health bar. And he basically just drops a bunch of loot. Oh, he dropped the legendary. Oh, is that what I think it is? Yeah, he dropped the seal killer. Killing and then, yeah, I remember, I gotta always remember seeing the seal killer. I never really used it. I mean, we could try it and guess, so this, we could try it out. It's actually pretty good. Well, I guess we still have our, I guess we keep our clairvoyance because we're gonna use that for Windigo because this isn't very good against Windigo because Windigo is fire resistant. But I guess we could use it. It's basically, like I said, it's one of those other like on kill / break effects where where you really get that huge damage up. But the problem is like I said, the inconsistency is what really hurts a lot of these guns because it's a pretty good gun, obviously, like early on, like a lot of these guns are. But then obviously after a while, it's better that you're gonna want to use something else because of scaling. So I think we should be able to kill him. Let's see if we can kind of like chain kills, but because we're obviously so powerful, we can kind of maintain it a little bit better than some of the other guns. So maybe it's not too bad. I think this is also kind of similar to like actually the Anarchy, which is another returning gun. But I guess the reference to Gauge, and then they brought it back into Borderlands 4 as kind of like just a generic weapon. Considering that it was part of the DLC, I think they wouldn't really add it. But I guess it's like another fan favorite gun, considering it's one of the more fan favorite guns, or another like really high meta gun. Let's see if you can like really stack it up and take advantage of it. But it's like I said, it's like the gimmick obviously is you have to stack it up and basically keep you shooting it into emptying your mag all the way, and then you get some damage, and then you basically build up your damage by a huge amount. Now Mickey is telling us that we have to make basically a beer or like a wine to basically imbue with our little bait. But you see, now our effect has gone away, so now we've got to rebuild it up. But like I said, it's not too difficult to build up. But at max level, if you're not really like min-maxing, this gun isn't going to really kill a lot of enemies. But I'm going to have to maintain it. Maybe they'll bring back the serial killer and make it a Ripper. I guess there is Ripper, not Ripper assault rifle. Maybe they'll make it like a shotgun. I know like Ripper shotguns are like, actually Ripper shotguns are pretty good. I mean, in terms of like the shotguns, I still think Jacobs are like the best, so especially with like the spread launcher and some of the other ones. But I think like Ripper shotguns, like they really are like, I think it was like them, next would be them. I think it was the Malawan. The Malawan shotguns aren't very good. I mean, they're okay. Some of the legendaries are cool, but like I said, the only really reason you use them is like the beam tosser, like under barrel. But even then, you're not. Even then, it's more of like a fun novelty way to kill, like instant kill some of like some of the big vault bosses or the guardians, basically. The vault monsters. You know, that's what you pretty much use it for. And then Cheater are just like, Cheater is still really weak. And then like some of the Cheater shotguns aren't very good. Torg is still really good, but there isn't really a very good like Torg shotgun. I guess what's it like the linebacker? I think is another one. I can't even think of what all the Torg shotguns are because I never really used Torg even then. Because I guess the other one is like the big one is like the Bod. The Bod's like the big giant one, but the Bod's like really powerful because it just can spawn with so many. It has like the Torg stickies. It has all that, and it has the effect of receiving bonuses from being all the damage type. So even if you have like a lot of bonuses into like sniper rifle, well, guess what? The bod gets sniper rifle damage or effect from it. Same with like assault rifle, SMG. So you can really like stack it up and just like insta kill a lot of the bosses. Cause it's become like the meta gun, especially for like fighting like Bloom Reaper. You know, get that with torque sticky. You could basically like insta kill Bloom Reaper. 'Cause, you know, I guess there isn't really like many like really powerful shotguns in the game other than like maybe like obviously like the Hot Slugger and like the what's it called, the Hellwalker. I think also the Tiki's Wave is actually really good, but the Tiki's Wave, you need to get the torque stickies. If you get torque stickies and you can land all those stickies and kind of sustain it, you can really do a lot of damage with the Tiki's Wave. Because obviously, like the Tiki's Wave, that's kind of like the perk of a lot of like the guns and is that you can take a lot of those like old guns and like add new stuff, like I said before. So I think maybe that's something I hope they kind of play into that of like bringing back guns and having them kind of be able to have that unique mechanic. Because that was kind of like the issue with like kind of like the Hellwalker at first, because you know, like the Hellwalker was obviously really powerful in Borderlands 3, but in Borderlands 4 they made it. Okay, well we're just gonna have it basically just be the Hellwalker. It's fixed. It doesn't do anything crazy. You know, you can't get torque stickies. You can't get like any under barrels or extra attachments, because but like obviously something like the Hot Slugger. The Hot Slugger had its own unique little gimmick, which obviously is like on kill you get stack up the damage, but because the Hot Slugger already has really good damage and stats, you know, the bonuses really can stack up and you can maintain. It plays a lot better than the Hellwalker, but the Hellwalker I think can kind of maybe out DPS it on certain characters. That's the extent it is fire, and fire is really powerful. Elements are a lot more powerful in the game than maybe non-elemental, unless you're playing like, I don't know, Vex. But we did get the, what's it called, the mutant. I guess we got to use the mutant now because we got it. Mutant, like I said, the mutant's pretty good. But I think it should be fine. Like I said, it doesn't do very good at like hard end game because you're just gonna chew through so much ammo because of the way because of its really high fire rate and the way it kind of consumes a lot of ammo. That's like one of the issues with it. Like I said, it's doing good. Let's see if we can land those crits. Does have a cool static side effect that kind of like punch with that thunk sound. That's something I always talk about with Borderlands, is like they always have like a very satisfying sound effects, you know, because like I guess like if you listen to like a lot of like actual like gun sounds, they're not very aesthetically pleasing. And I guess some games, and that's where you kind of have to like add like that kind of aesthetically pleasing, because no one wants to hear like a loud, like, I don't know, like boom boom, like bang bang bang, boom boom boom, like a really loud piercing sound that's like not very aesthetically pleasing. And then with this, they're able to like have, for those like very like specific guns, like high fire rate like sniper rifles, you having that big like boom and like hearing like the whisper, like the ricochet effect. And that's, you know, kind of that balancing of like sound effects. You know, which a lot of games have kind of done. Same with like the reload, you know, the tactile clicking and clacking, or the metal or the plastic kind of locking into place. You know, there's something about, like, I guess that's kind of the art of like sound. You don't really think about it because, you know, a lot of games can, I guess in some games you can really feel it. You know, it adds to the experience of the gun, of like with designing a gun. And again, most people don't really think about it because, you know, it's something you just kind of overlook. Like, oh yeah, the gun sounds cool, but every gun sounds cool, but it really like adds to the experience of certain weapons. You know, like something like, I guess like there's another thing, like these like two, like they're kind of like whomp or the whoops, or like the kind of scientific, or not scientific, but kind of technological like beeps and boops, kind of like the pew 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 of like some of those like, or like the blasters in like Star Wars and stuff like that, where it was like the ray gun sound effect in Call of Duty, where it has like that like sound. You know, like stuff like that really adds to the experience, because if you didn't have that, or you didn't put that in, yeah, it's a cool gun, but you know, it adds to the like aesthetics, I guess, of the game, or the novelty of it. And now I'm gonna come and brew some brewskis over here. See if we get anything from this. We did get another launcher, but we'll leave that in the corner. Anything good? Nah. Alright, so we need to make, I believe, yeah, this one. So we do, I think it's the, was it the green one first? So we put green, I think, in the first vat. And then we press the, next is obviously the little, no, first is water. Water goes at the end, I think. Because the water's the end one, then it's the little, like, octopus squid guy. We put that in the end. And then we put the next one. in the middle. And then we do that. I think we should have it. And then we mix.
Perfection.
There we go.
But don't breathe it in.
Well, I can't breathe because I'm a robot,
Function, Vault Hunter. Excellent.
so that doesn't apply to me.
Believe I've tracked the
But I
witches
can
in
eat,
this
so
speaking
maybe I
ground.
am
Come
kind of human. Maybe the joke is that Flack was actually just a cyborg all along, and he's like kind of like, what is it, like RoboCop, where he's basically just a head and some lungs and some, like, I don't know, like a spinal cord. I don't know if you've seen like the meme of like what happens of like the clip of from one of the old like RoboCop movies where it's like the scene of him finding out what he looks like and freaking out. It's like what happens to like the homie who falls asleep first. He gets all his organs removed and he gets turned into basically like a literal, like it's vegetated like in like handicapped like organs, or he's I don't even know how to describe it. Basically, he's like stuck as like a little head and like body parts, or literally just his like organs with no arms, no legs, no nothing.
For a wedding present.
You know, it kind of adds to that kind of like goofiness of it. Oh, look, Claptrap's here. They kind of drop some more lore about this. I don't know if they're gonna maybe talk about Claptrap's little adventure. Maybe in the DLC they'll reference how Claptrap will talk about how he went on his little like escapade getting the pearl for the knowledge, kind of like what they did with Borderlands during the I think it was like the stats where Claptrap basically tells you to like find his secret stash, and then in order to do it you gotta go do a bunch of like crazy objectives, but obviously you find out that the stash is like literally right next to where he's like camped out in the sanctuary. And then in Borderlands 3 they added a bunch of like side quests that are kind of like reference to that, where like kill like Ugthak, like collect a bunch of brown rocks, like defeat like was it something about like Mount Schuler, or fight like another boss, you know, basically do a bunch of crazy stuff. But obviously you don't have to do that. And then they kind of reference that where in that Borderlands 3 you obviously do all that, and then in the end you get like it's part of like Claptrap's like little like extra little thing. So I think we gotta talk to him.
To be making progress toward
I
your
think
goal.
well we can't switch it because we're talking, but I think he's gonna teleport
What have you
away.
been up to?
So you got his little tin hat. It's kind of clipping on his body. I guess it wasn't designed for all his movement. I guess they expected to put maybe the was it the other antennas, or the little like was it fork, or the little wire coat rack, or not a coat rack, the the wired coat rack. What do we have here? Oh, it does still say that. All right, he's leaving. All right, now we got that. I think we go gun damage. And I think there's also, the presence right here. I think Gage might talk. I don't know if it's going to cut off by some of the more dialogue from make Mr. Hammerlock, but we should be able to grab this really quickly. Little red. I forget who this is from. I think it's, Tina.
Her letter says, "Dearest gentle folks, Monsieurs Hammerlock and Winifred, it is with a heavy heart that I say to you I will not be able to attend these nuptialities, but yo, you dudes is the cutest, so break a leg. Wait, is that the right thing? No, mistletoe. No, mazel tov. Hey, that's the one."
Splendid, Vault Hunter.
I always thought it was kind of funny how the presents are basically the game's way of explaining, like, why aren't all the DLC characters, or I guess the main story characters, part of the coming to the wedding? Because you would assume that, I guess
We haven't a moment to lose.
it's hard to kind of explain like the relationship between all of the characters, because Hammerlock, I guess I don't know what his relationship to all of the main characters are really, because I guess he was introduced in Borderlands 2, so he wasn't really around in like the main like Borderlands like universe, like the front of early days of Borderlands, like in New Haven or that kind of area, or like I forget what it was even called, the first like camp area that they were in with like Helena Pierce and all that, because he obviously I guess came in Borderlands 2 as like a off-world adventure, kind of exploring Pandora, and he kind of stayed and kind of became like the main character, or became like a side character who like takes you on like quests to go and fight like the monsters of Pandora. And then obviously he leaves. I guess he leaves and goes to goes and like falls in love with Wainwright and goes to like Ian 6 in the middle. But then obviously Ian 6 gets taken over by the Calypsos years later, where now he's got to help Wainwright and obviously the new Vault Hunters and all them. Save the day. So like I guess it doesn't really clear what their relationship is. Like how often. I guess I'm really supposed to think about it, but how often does Tina talk to Wainwright, or how often did Wainwright talk to Tina? Or even before, obviously when he went off world, but obviously the main like story is like they don't want to bring back all of the voice actors and have them come back and record a couple lines. Where like, oh yeah, here's Tina, here's Brick, here's Mordecai, here's Clay, here's Tannis, here's Lilith, or I guess not Lilith because Lilith is not in the game, but even like Ava or or Marcus or any of the other characters that are introduced to come and like interact with Wainwright and have a relationship with him and be like, okay, I'm here for the wedding. Other than like I guess Claptrap, since Claptrap is like he's always got to be there indirectly as part of the main story, and then obviously Gage was like them kind of bringing her back and having her be like the main like assisting supporting character, like supporting character that kind of plays along and kind of helps forward the story. Yeah, he does that little jump where he like falls down. One of those little goofy things that you don't think about. Because I guess how would he have him? I guess they could have just had him like jump, maybe the bigger, and just had him do like a jump and have him like maybe do like a landing pose where he like kind of like falls on his feet or knees and he like kind of stumbles and stands back up, kind of showing like him like how he like traverses. But it's just like him sliding down and just like going back into his normal like, walk cycle. Now we gotta fight the big boss. I do really like actually, like I said before, Wendigo's design because he is very different. He has that kind of weird, like, creepy design because they could have easily made him like just a big, like I don't know, like a cratch or not a cratch, like is it like a ratch or a skag or something like other variation. Just kind of slap them together, kind of like what they've done with other like unique enemies or bosses in the game that are just variations of that. But they obviously made them really different. Alright, now he's gonna do his weird thing. I guess we want to throw on. I guess we got to put on our clairvoyance. I think I said that. Because he's always resistant to fire, and the clairvoyance is just going to chew through him. But he can definitely mess you up if you're not paying attention, especially if your main weapon is fire. I guess most people's weapon is fire, or you have like fire on your gun as like a secondary element. But yeah, we're pretty much fine. Hammerlock should help us, so we don't have to. I guess Hammerlock will help us too. So our spider ant might get killed because he's going to basically pull everything away. But yeah, that wouldn't be too difficult. There are times where he can be really annoying, especially if you come out here at a higher man level. We're not like the best gear.
Strength by way of testicles. I see.
Yeah, now we gotta grab these big fiery testicles. Yeah, we got the Star Wars burn. Star Wars burn. Yes, chance to break has the combust, guts, guarantee, crits, increases fire, lowers cost to break. I mean, it's a cool gun, but like I said, the break chance, it's like a chance not on every break, so it's kind of like. You really want to use that when you can use like the clairvoyance. That's really good. That's the issue. It's still a cool gun if you're maybe like doing like allegiance to COV and you want like a good gun. Because I guess the no pew pew is a little bit better. But even something like the no pew pew, if you don't really just want to rely on the no pew pew, you come and get this gun because like obviously the embrace the pain and the painter's power and embrace the pain aren't very good. I guess you could use maybe the serial killer, but the serial killer is another iffy gun too. Like this is probably like your if you could really sustain it and take advantage of the combust mechanic, this might be like one of your more better guns, especially maybe for bossing. Because a lot of the other guns are pretty decent for mobbing if you really can build around them. So now we pretty much are done here. So we kind of speed through here.
Now I see that I have found it. I'm no less the hunter for it.
Yeah, he's blabbering about stuff.
To be at Winnie's side. You have the trophies. Return with them to Eister. Good luck, Vault Hunter.
You found a chest.
I guess we'll quickly go to Eister real quick. I guess I'll watch Eister really quick. Because I think when we get to Eister, we're going to have to do a bit of fighting. But yeah, we're pretty much done here. I guess maybe I'll come back later on, maybe. I guess we already got the Star Wars burn, so we don't really need to come back this area. That's one of the other issues. Like, a lot of these areas, you don't need to come back. I think there's a side quest we can do, but that's not too much later to come and, like, get something. I think that's for the special end side quest where we have to fight Eister and the Invincible, which maybe we'll do at the end of the playthrough. I'll just do that really quickly just to show him off as, like, a little extra cut where I'll, like, go and do all the side stuff for him once we beat the main story, because that's like a little fun thing to do. Plus we get a unique, and we could get the the Skull Masher, and I think some of the other legendaries too. But yeah, all the cultists are attacking. I guess we could use our Star Wars burn. I guess it's pretty good. Obviously fire on flesh, and we're in normal mode. So we're gonna instant kill a lot of these guys because these guys don't have anything crazy like protection or any like. All of them aren't even shielded. I guess some of them are shielded, like have actual shields. Like shield bars, and some of the other big guys obviously have like their like shield, their meat shields like block damage. But we shouldn't be we shouldn't be struggling. I guess we could try to maybe get the break effect. That's like the problem. I guess we gotta get the break effect, but we didn't get it there. See, we'd be on fire. So like I said, that's one of the issues too. Like, well, even now, like obviously we could kill him instantly, but like why rely on the combust when you can just rely on the damage? Or if I want to, okay, I think, no, we didn't get it. Like, see, we're not even getting it. I think it should have been guaranteed, or like rather than just be like a chance. Because, like I said, there's no, we're not even getting it. It's already broken in a couple times, and the fight's basically over. See if we can get it to proc. No, I don't think it. Or I think it did proc. I don't. I don't even know if we're getting it. I can't even tell. Maybe we are getting it because the fire rate's really high. Okay, now we got it. See, now we're on fire. There we go. We got it on fire. But still, like, and then it goes away after you break it. So you got to kind of still sustain it.
Those tainted souls have never dared to slash with me before.
All right, now I got to go put the testicles where they belong.
I smell their putrid scent. The cult grows in power, fed by the
We'll come back and deal with him later, but he's gonna kind of just go away. I wish he kind of followed you on the rest of the story. Maybe he kind of went up with you and fought with you alongside you. But I guess they kind of replaced him with. They want to have Gage kind of follow you and have the sequence with Death Trap later on.
I have collected the kind.
But he's only here, and then I think obviously for his side quest. So I guess maybe I guess for the story, because obviously this isn't coming to about later. You would go up there, then he comes back here, and after you beat the main story, he'll be able to do the invincible quest. Okay, I think after we go into there, we can do at least the first part, or at least one of the parts. Because I know another part we have to come here into the Nagul Nashai area and get some stuff.
This is true kind.
Yeah, he's blabbing to us.
Beyond is the curse. They say the wind carries the voices of the past. Many have come, but none.
We didn't even use our nothingness. Is it nothingness or insight? I can't even remember what we have. Yeah, it was a nothingness. That's how kind of forgettable this gun is, which kind of sucks because, like I said, Malawan shotguns are very good. I mean, some of them are good, like the Trevenator. I think the Mind Killer's not too bad because it doesn't have an annoying charge. But like even this, and the Insider, they just don't do enough, or they're just not as memorable. Like they're fun to use once you get them. You could kind of build around it if you wanted to be more melee or Malawan focused as like allegiance, or just use them out. But they just don't do enough to really like feel fun and interesting. But yeah, I think that's going to be it. We're obviously say this is obviously going to be the. I think there's still going to be another part, but this is going to be the end of this part, going through the big ship and doing all that with the Gauge and the Death Trap. But we'll save that for later. Obviously, like I said, be sure to check all the other parts. I think I'll have another Isaac part out, or maybe it's eventually. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But you know, that's just how it is always. Like I said, I keep saying that because that's just how it is. It's very inconsistent. But yeah, that's going to be it. Be sure to check all the other parts, like the video, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.